Great news. The boat is big enough for a grown man like you to fit underneath it in a supine position. I don't know. Sleeping? What do people do under boats? This is merely a measurement from your visual cortex. Do with it what you want. Huh?
Sarcastic self-pity is not what we need at this moment, officer. I understand the situation looks grim, but we must continue with our investigation.
You have a home somewhere. All cops do. When this is done, you can return. These are some wonderfully regular pants. Not too tight, not too loose, moderate in every sense. You'll blend right in at some pleasant dinner party. I know you do. These Inter-Estellari pants are like wearing a perfect compromise in your nether regions. No one will call the moral intern on you like this, that's for sure. You're a little more moralist now, buddy. A little more normal, even if you didn't want to be. Makes sense. This is what wearing boring office trousers does to you. You're not sure about the melody, but it might be South Samaran, possibly Sigayan, also known as the apricot suzerainty.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts. Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here. And we don't want any trouble either.
We are not here to cause any trouble, madame.
Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinez, you're considered an ill omen. No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. One of them killed another, locked himself in that woodshed over there. He was brooding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat.
Oh, the usual. Dark tidings. Black hound.
You're not. No one around here considers us an ill omen. People would have told us.
Maybe they are afraid. Because you're an ill omen. But you're still welcome here. As long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then. Because that's the kind of fishing village we've built. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage. And not a lot of houses. Or a lot of people. My kids are long gone. Searching for treasure. So are others. Ah, look at me ramble on. What brings you to us? Stay? Most people here are trying to leave. That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shack. I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM. No one is using it, and God knows it's not much anyway. You can stay there. Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the place.
Well, if you are not in the hostel in the morning, I'll know where to find you. Here, in a shack.
Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist. This is pretty much a non-place. A gap. A blank spot on the map. Just a cluster of nameless shacks on a nameless street.
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny.
The lack of wealth is the one thing we've got in abundance.
It's a cold, cynical smile.
Riddles. Fits with the general ambiance here.
Aye. Sometimes it's as though I'm also gotten lost inside this nameless nothing. Oh, it seems to be a common theme these days. Isn't that what people always think when they are lost? Something I can do for you to find your way, officer? Over there, you can find more of the same. Shacks and trees growing wild. That's the pox.
Between here and Jamrock, a dusty sea of old trees, all covered in industrial soot. Small houses under them, an overgrown park.
An old military hospital and its surroundings. Or it used to be, during the time of the suzerain. After the war, it was turned into a goodwill hospital for shell-shock veterans and folks looking for some quiet in the old sanatorium gardens. Now the area is crisscrossed with nameless streets and makeshift cinderblock houses, shacks as far as the eye can see. The goodwill ran out. The staff left and the place was shut down. It's long gone by now. Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east, but they're away right now. And then there's the drunks. Not a pretty sight, but there's little we can do about it. Home is home, even for them. Sooner or later, you'll see for yourself. Don't have to look long to find these guys. Here, for you? No, officer. The only money we have here is some coins the drunks tried hiding from their women and then forgot about.
Under carts, boats, in little boxes, it's not hard to find. She nods, rinsing another piece of cloth.
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time, even. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then.
So, they don't hold services there anymore? The Ecclesiastes?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church. Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. I don't know exactly. A pre-war place. It used to be something. Before the war. I wasn't here then, you know. Was born in Samara. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk. But it's closed. No one. That's why it's closed. It was once a bustling place, back when I was young, and so was everyone else. Now, what catch we do bring in goes straight into a lorry for the Delta or somewhere else. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Sансет. Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible. And now you know everything there is to know about this coast. Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. Quite a handle you got there. So many titles. One of them double.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. The kids don't reply, absorbed in their little game. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of. The obvious fact that you just stated.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt. The rock kicker was just being shy, but now he's enthusiastic again.
You're bad with kids. Don't worry, everyone is. How about we do some police work now? We're not getting anything here.
Apricot chewing gum scented one. August 2nd, early late summer. You're getting off the streetcar in Le Jardin, east of the river. Her father and mother are middle class. The nylon of her little jacket rustles next to you in the dark like autumn leaves. Her heels click on the pavement. You're walking up to the gate in front of her parents' house. She takes out her chewing gum and you kiss her. A feeling like electricity flows through your whole body. Immediately, you know that you've entered a completely different world.
you, mister?
She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally, she twirls it around.
My mum's outside, and I don't really know about my dad. Yes, they don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart. They look identical. It's a grouse.
Wasn't Gar, the cafeteria manager, trying to repair a piece of taxidermy?
Sure. I mean, you already took it. I don't like it anyway. It looks angry. It's Lammy. He's my friend. Sort of. Like...
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts.
Yes. Lammy has lived a long life. Lammy was a... Yes! Lammy was a resolution... Eri. Bye!
The door has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea. Even the lock looks slightly rusted.
I'll wait outside to give you some time and privacy to check out your new living arrangement. But just so you know, after we are done with the day, I'll still be staying in the whirling in rags for the night. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
The key turns with a satisfying click. You can enter the shack now. A brisk coastal wind still howls against the window of the shack. Occasionally, the waves crawl in under the foundation. The room feels muffled, like you pulled your hat over your ears. Outside, it is cold and windy, but you're inside, and it feels safe and warm.
What is this place to you?
Overhead, you hear the forlorn shriek of seagulls. Far below the birds, a wooden boardwalk filled with abandoned stands, tables and benches, echoes from a long-lost time. A middle-aged man stands in a rundown shack on the edge of a fishing village, listening to the heater hum on the wall. Outside, the howl of the wind has picked up. The waves crash against the stilts again. It's as if you think the thought, but in someone else's voice.
Look under the floorboards.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. It's too late. Like an image on film, the expression belongs to your primary motor cortex. It would take a minor neurological miracle for you to cease producing it. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. The stash is gigantic. A fresh start looms ahead. Clean yourself up and be born anew. Like an artist with a brush or a master swordsman, you use the small mirror and the straight razor with some soap to remove all that unkempt hair from below the nose line. The sharp blade chafes against your skin, producing a scratching sound. The surface underneath the beard feels tender, the air brushing against it chilly. They feel so smooth, surprisingly so. A feeling of freshness overcomes you, as if you just came from a cold bath. The water reflects back a vague image of your clean-shaven face. Despite the bulbous nose, unkempt hair, and persistent swelling, you look a little younger, maybe. You almost look like a professional.
Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the mutton chops might have been a better idea. They sort of seem to cover up some of the...
Yeah, damage. He means damage.
Either way, good on you. You were saying?
You hold in your hand the colorful primer. The title reads, A Primer for Small Kids. There's a bear involved. This book will show you the score. Get you oriented with those basic concepts you appear to be hazy on. The anthropomorphic bear will give you the lowdown of your life. The alphabet. Every page has one word designating one letter of the alphabet with a faded illustration. Most of them are scientific and cultural principles. It goes as follows. A is for azimuth. B is for Boreas. C is for cosine. D is for diamite. E is for ellipse. F is for phlogiston. G is for gamete. H is for homeboy. I is for econ. J is for Eura. K is for collapse. L is for laudanum. M is for myriad. N is for nadir. O is for aureole. P is for perihelion. Q is for quasar. R is for rhododendron. S is for sinus. T is for tricolor. U is for ultra. V is for vector. W is for Wahrheit. X is for xylophone. Y is for Ustava. Z is for zenith. That's it. You know the alphabet now.
Good. I also know the alphabet.
Hey, Tequila! Good to see you. How's business? How's the whole reality situation treating you? So what's happening? Yeah, Tequila Sunset. How are the High concept, reality-based adventures proceeding.
He says it like it's obviously your name. Like you call someone Billy Brunel or leader of the 4th Street Gang.
That's the spirit. I used to shape reality into my image a long time ago. Those days are over now. Sadly, things aren't going that well in Idiot Doom Spiral Land. Haven't found those keys yet, haven't won that great piece of ass back. No word from my business buddies.
Idiot Doom Spiral, huh? This is bound to be a good, high-concept conversation. At last.
We are saving the world.
Please! Please don't go! Don't go!
Okay, we're drinking. We're drinking alcohol. That's what we're doing. I tried to save the world once, a long time ago, with enterprise, creativity, and willpower. But that didn't work out. So now, it's a pirate's life for me. It's you. You're Tequila Sunset. We've met before. Don't you remember?
No, you sure don't.
Aha. Do you want to know how Tequila Sunset came to be? Let me take a sip to moisten up my chords. Tequila Sunset rolled into Martinez last Friday, and by Tequila Sunset, I mean you. The man, the myth. Hey, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. This is your story. Stop interrupting. You got here on Friday to solve a case, hoping to be the early bird who gets the worm. And by the worm, I mean the buzz. Because as far as I know, all you did was get piss drunk. Word on the street is you went around the local hostel telling people that you're a police officer, and that it would be really fucked up if you shot yourself in the head right in front of them. That's pretty high concept, if you ask me.
It is. The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He's listening as casually as he can.
It was a late Saturday night when we, the Union of Moribund Alcoholics, were getting our drink on. Nothing remarkable about this. We get our drink on 24/7. Makes everything warm and glowy. I trust you know the feeling. One moment we hear the sound of a motor carriage revving up somewhere on the plaza, followed by a series of dings and bangs.
Do you remember the sound of wood cracking? The billboard?
Naturally, loud noises pique the interest of anybody owning a pair of ears. That's just the reality we're in. Anyway, there was a brief silence, a gasp of silence, if you will, followed by a real commotion. We heard the carriage careening towards the coast at top speed. Sounded like someone jumped the canal. We grabbed our brewskis and rushed to the jetty. Never underestimate the speed of an alcoholic. What we saw was a sight to behold. A beat-up police carriage containing you. Right there on the beach. You revved the engine and screamed at the top of your lungs, "The time hath come!" So, naturally, being the curious cat I am, I asked what time hath come, to which you replied, "The time hath come for Tequila Sunset, the end of all things." Your reality contracted. You jammed the pedal, plowed right off the jetty, and through the ice. We ran towards the ice, whilst you crawled your way out, miraculously unhurt, covered in seaweed and shit, like some kind of sea monster. When we finally got there, you were sitting on the beach crying. You said that your badge and uniform were in the car. It was too late to get in there, though. The carriage had sunk too deep.
In this way, you and your motor carriage have a lot in common.
Recognizing a brother in need, we offered our condolences and invited you to party with us, which you naturally agreed to. We asked about the whole Tequila Sunset thing, and you told us it was your name now and insisted that we all call you that from then on. No, that's just what your mother called you. Your real name is Tequila Sunset. Just embrace it, brother. Hours. It was an all-night drink-a-thon. Then, at some point, I think it was Sunday morning, you got belligerent and wanted to talk about Revacholian women. How they're beautiful and also whores and so on. How one of them fucked you real bad. After a short while, you crossed the event horizon, looked sullen, got up, and left without saying anything.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah, I bet Tequila's a fucking legend around the precinct. You must be proud to work with him.
If you only knew.
You were pretty vague about it, but you kept saying you got fucked real hard, and that we've all been fucked too.
No one's fucked me. I do the fucking around here.
Abigail!
It seemed pretty painful, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, I'd say you're still working through some shit. Beside your gun and your badge, you said something about your hope or heart or something. To be honest, the details are a little hazy. In retrospect, I guess you lost your motor carriage too. That's a big one. You told us that they were a bunch of fucking losers whose main interest was cramping your style. No specifics, though. It was more about you that night. You were the star of the show. Yeah, you said it was no biggie and that you'd solve it in no time. And that you didn't need anyone to do it. You're doing it solo now.
A lot of cops go solo and hermit once they reach that level of alcoholism.
Yeah, you said that it was okay that you crashed your carriage because the spectral hand of the market was guiding you. This was before you started talking about how the Pinkies were always trying to fuck you. You kept apologizing for being such a bad cop and for the damage you've inflicted on everyone around you. You also kept pausing to knock the heel of your hand against your temples, saying, "Stupid, stupid, stupid." It's a hard thing for a man to confront his past. That's why I avoid mine at all costs. Whoop-de-doo. So now I'm a fucking storyteller. Right, why not? Better than a beach bum. It depends, really. Are you willing to help me out?
You might get scammed here.
No, the reality of the situation requires a rather modest contribution. A little motivational package. Booze! Did you already forget our party? The thing I relayed to you earlier. So, have you got anything for good old idiot Doom Spiral? A bottle for a story. Seems fair to me. Classy.
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Don't call Abigail!
Shut up, guys. I'm telling a story here. Something happened to you. Something happened to me, too. My actual name is George, but around here, you already know. I was once a reasonably high net worth individual, a founder/junior partner at a high-concept creative services agency. I used the profits from my agency to finance what I called a cultural incubator. Abstract value generation, value per person, high-concept stuff. I developed the paradigm, worked within the paradigm, but the burden of leadership weighed heavily on me. So I went jogging every so often to keep myself sane. It did. With my trusty Sanseric tracksuit, I felt like I could conquer the world. But now dreams are worn thin, much like my tracksuit. One day I left on my evening run. As you may know, it's impossible to clear your head when you're distracted by the sound of keys jangling in your pockets.
His eyes are clouded, his dilated blood vessels encircling his irises like stinging brambles. His eyes are your eyes.
So I removed the key ring and put the keys for the front gate and the apartment into different pockets to stop the jangling, you see? At least, that was the plan. I was halfway done with my usual lap when it started to rain. The reality situation became very wet, very quickly. Wet, okay? It was raining really hard. I made my way back home and discovered that I didn't have the key to the front gate. I'd mixed it up with the key to the letterbox, which was useless. Naturally, the situation required me to climb over the gate, which I did. There was no climbing down because I slipped and landed on my ass. Reality was looking rather grim just then. Me lying on my ass in a mud pit in the middle of a heavy shower. But when life knocked me down, I always got up. So I made my way across the yard. Standing in front of my apartment door, fumbling with my pockets, I realized that I'd also forgotten my apartment key. I rang my neighbors' buzzers. It was late, and most of them didn't even answer. Those who did assumed I was trying to sell them something and hung up before I could even explain the situation. People are naturally wary of ad men, you see. One moment someone chats you up, 5 minutes later you've bought a box of edible lingerie and a strap-on. I don't begrudge them, especially since I was known to be one of the best. Just then, I experienced a moment of clarity. I still had the key to my office. I could wait out the storm there. But when I reached my office, I remembered that I'd asked one of my producers to change the locks that day. And since I hired only the best, he'd already done it, and I couldn't get in. Anyway, long story short, life spiraled out of control. I haven't gotten into my apartment for years, and my girlfriend left me because she didn't want to date a homeless man. The company, well, you see where I'm going with this.
He pinches his thigh as if to check whether this reality is the reality.
So, now you've heard my tragic tale. What do you think? Like nothing you've ever heard, huh? Tequila, I've thought about this series of events for a long time. If there was anything else to it, I would have thought of it by now.
Why didn't you go to the authorities?
Well, at one point they came to me, but, you know, I didn't have any ID on me, so they tossed me in jail for 2 days. I can't say it increased my faith in the RCM. No offense, gentlemen. The hobo lifestyle definitely has some perks. Not having to pay rent, first and foremost. Not being responsible for 20 other people is nice, too. But that charm wears off pretty quickly. Before you know it, you're wearing a shit-stained tracksuit and spending your days picking tear. Good fucking question, Tequila. If I knew the answer, you think I'd be hanging out on a beach in this formerly premium but now extremely dirty two-piece lycra tracksuit? I used to own my reality situation. My business buddies and I had our own creative services agency. I had a nice apartment, an even nicer piece of ass. But somehow it all got away from me. Now I can't hang on to anything. Just last week I stole this nice new jacket, but then I lost it too. The only things I haven't lost are these two drunks.
A lost jacket? Sounds like a mystery you could look into.
My agency, man. The Boom Boom Room. Our concept was combining high art with the lowest forms of marketing. The color red, breasts, and oil painting. I convinced my partners to reinvest some of our profits in an even more high-concept cultural incubator called Thin Air. The artists were happy, the clients were happy. I was financing a group of poets in East Revachol who were developing a new universal poetic language. But then it all went to shit.
If it sounds like it makes no sense, that's because it doesn't.
Well, you know, sex sells. That's the first rule of advertising. That's what's so cool about advertising. It's kind of like art, except you can also get fucking rich doing it. What? You've never seen 100% Lycra before? Go on, feel that primo material. Pretty nice, huh? This might be one of the last of its kind. Should probably be in a museum, honestly.
Good God, it's nearly impossible to describe how dirty this texture is. It's like rubbing two jellyfish skins together. You feel about 15% less human for having touched it. Randomized trials have also found Lycra, TM, to be associated with a number of exotic, highly malignant cancers, so you also have that to look forward to. And then there's the smell, but you don't even want to think about that.
Wow, you're lucky. He never lets me feel it.
That's because your paws are fucking filthy, Rosie. We're right next to the bay. You could wash them any time. My fellow members of the Union of Moribund Alcoholics? They're exactly what they look like.
Hey, Tequila! You want to buy some speed?
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. He's a cop, remember?
I thought he was a cool cop.
Don't call Abigail.
And this is Abs. So yeah, that's basically us. We drink together. Tequila, it's a verifiable tragedy. It was practically brand new. Sure, it didn't really go with my Lycra threads, but it did itch a lot less. Say, you're a detective, right? Maybe you can help old Doom Spiral out. Solve the case of the missing jacket. What do you say, Tequila? Yeah, exactly. You're here to serve, right? If I knew where I lost it, don't you think I'd have it? I mean, maybe I was up by the boardwalk, or walking along the beach, or checking out the abandoned fish market. Somewhere north of here, that's for sure. You could ask around, see if anyone's seen it. I'm all ears, Tequila. I do. But as you can see, my fuel tank is running quite low, if you catch my drift. Cottonmouth is keeping my tongue imprisoned. You too, Tequila Sunset.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they solve shit. What are you, deaf? They're perfect, like rock star politician and drug addict teacher. Embrace the superstardom you've worked so hard to establish. Yeah, a cool, trash superstar. Big dick cop down on his luck. Salam Rocky by here. Badass on the edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera. Lights. Yeah, you know. Beneath it is just heartbreak. A pulmonary tract infection. Atherosclerotic disease. This is where you say action and reconceptualize all that. Reinvent it as the world's first celebrity police officer. This is the beginning of your legend. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world. It's on. Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock carelessly drilled into the wood. Nothing happens, only the sound of the padlock rattling against the door.
I don't think that's going to work.
The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. It's the contrast between the cheery, chemical yellow and the rigor mortis. As if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead, or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of future are at work here. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
Your hands are clammy from the sea air. The piece of sticker keeps slipping away. The lock clanks against the door, cold and heavy. The padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not a screw at all, but a nail. The work has been done recently and is unprofessional, to say the least. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to just pry the whole thing off.
Maybe we should circle the building first and look for another way. The building has seen enough mistreatment. Yes, the pulsing base. A sure sign of junior delinquency, somewhere east of here.
There's something on the sea ice there. A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh, hello there. Huh?
Maybe she didn't hear you. A little...
So should you. Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, well... Look, man, fuck the hat. I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me. A cell.
Her hair is dyed blonde, with dark roots showing. There's a coarseness to her features, some masculinity below that timidness.
Why? Okay, it's Burger.
A very common name.
This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone. A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Your mangled brain would like you to know there is a boxer called Contact Mike. No idea.
The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. Yeah, I record stuff with it. No. This is a contact microphone. It's for recording inside solid objects. Contact mic just beats people up. Same place I got the recorder from, the Elysium. Oh man, you haven't been to the Elysium? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck. Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck, or really be a Elysium going kind of person. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means either.
She breathes on her fingers. Looks like she doesn't know what to say.
Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps? Okay. Recording, I guess. I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound. My boyfriend sold them. I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
A lie. They were probably pawned off for something suspicious.
The musicians in the Elysium used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
Take this, your code.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
Thanks. That? The boys think it could be a place, like the Elysium or something. Stupid. It's really not gonna be a Elysium, that's for sure.
And who are these boys?
Yeah, Andre and the guys, they're inside, in the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there, no room. Music stuff mostly. Like this tape recorder, but bigger. And there's piles of it. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter, I can take the cold. Go ahead. It's supposed to become like a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Elysium. Except that, yeah.
The floorboards are twisting, and the shooting beams are slowly cracking, like bones. Far east of the Golden Delta, beyond the industrial port, there is a black patch of unlit coast with the smallest creatures on the ice. There will never be a club for anodic music here. Not in a million years.
You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments. Synthesizers and tape consoles, microcomputers too. Anything that uses electricity, but isn't guitars. Also found sounds, stuff like that. I know, it's not my idea. Andre and the boys found the place. It was supposed to be deserted, but now they can't even take it. Hey, don't get me wrong, but you're cops, right? Okay, well, maybe you could talk to Andre and the guys, because there are some strange things going on in that church. If you're police, you should look into it, right? They're inside that thing there. Would be cool if you did. Was there something else? No. Not really, no.
She's trying to get out of a direct lie with semantic tricks. She personally didn't put the padlock on the door.
Yeah, you know, that's what I meant. Noid did. Noid put the padlock on the door. To keep more weirdos from getting in. Fucking Martinez. I'm sorry. It's got the worst weirdos. If you get around to it, ask Andre about him, he'll tell ya. Go ahead.
The device is cold to the touch. An angular Omicron logo adorns the yellow plastic cover. Underneath you see a reel of tape rolling.
Okay, bye.
A pane of eternite has been planted into the snow. 2 poles are holding it up. Barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind might be enough.
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk. The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel, reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Go speak to Andre. I'm just annoyed. I suck at socialising, man. If you go speak to Andre, I'll have time to tune in, get a reading on your sign.
The young man picks up a thin metal saw blade and nods. You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His grip is strong, sweaty and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead. Egg! Together with a Cell Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Honest for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast. I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that. In Revachol. Strike that! The word! And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
The spooky kind. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man. Oh, so you met her. Good, good. I did ask Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
Not long, like a week maybe? I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Yes, I do. I listen to Channel 8 all the time. I know about crime stuff, and I assure you, officer, this is not what's happening here. I'm at least 80% sure they're alive. I mean, come on. Most people aren't ever that alive in their entire lives. I don't know. What does anything mean, really?
Oh, yeah.
I knew you'd get it. You're one smart cop.
He nods attentively, ready to answer the questions of one smart cop.
Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
All right.
It's as if time has frozen somehow. You think you can sense the key moving in the air. Yeah, this is going to be way cool. Blam! Straight in the eye. Straight in the old eye hole. In a stabbing pain. Tears stream uncontrollably from your right eye.
Man, I'm super sorry. That was totally my bad. I got overexcited. Threw him too hard. I'm sorry. I really am sorry, man. Just take this, okay?
Well, looks like there's quite a lot there.
I hope that settles it. Or wait. The key?
He is shifting in his spot, uncomfortably, still feeling sorry for the mishap.
We were talking about the padlock, I think. Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
You know, of Meteo, concerning Meteo. Meteo, a country, on Muindi, on the Muindi Isla.
One of the poorest of the first world nations today, but once a great ancient civilization. Capital, Tilakos by percentage.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organization. Yes? Yes. What? Yeah, good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water. Oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of.
It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
Ether?
I don't smell ether. Do you, Noid?
No.
He sniffs the air, then shrugs. It doesn't take a forensic scientist to guess it's drug-related. They look and act like the kind of guys who've done their fair share. However, their breathing is regular, their jaws stay put and their pupils aren't dilated. So, not under the influence right now. At least, not under the influence of stimulants. That doesn't rule out hallucinogens, benzos, some depressants. How do you know all this?
The what now? Oh, the old Ultra.
He's like an actor, looking to the souffleur for his line.
I have a major sinus infection, stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter, can't even breathe. Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Nosafed is the shit.
Sure. Here you go, officer. The Noser. Blast away. The engine starting fluid. It's for starting engines.
What's with the goddamn Romangarod earrings? It's cold. The fluid's for the generator.
Keep on it, sire.
I guess it does.
You're not completely satisfied yet.
No idea, man.
Did you know ethyl ether is used as a light anesthetic and a solvent and an explosive and for manufacturing amphetamine? He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
As always, we'll be right here.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
A number of things don't add up. Let's take a look. How about gather around, kids? The young speed freak puts down a busted capacitor and looks at you. The one with the large head seems very enthusiastic about whatever you have planned. Their would-be leader is less amused.
But you still are.
What happened? That's a real downer.
The young speed freak is silent.
I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong. Look, we even have speakers.
One speaker. They have one speaker.
What do you mean, friend? It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music. Other speaker.
This may be the brain damage talking, but you've definitely never heard of monodynamic or one-speaker systems.
What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing. I'm sorry, but there is no lab equipment and no drug ingredients.
He said it was for his nose. What more do you want?
Likely pseudoephedrine, almost exactly the shape of ephedrine. Ephedrine makes you happy, and so does pseudoephedrine.
And of all cellular-based life, what's your point, Lawbringer?
Make up your mind. First it's the sweat, then it's the ether. No shit.
We don't need drugs to be hardcore.
Shut the fuck up, Egg.
Climb down from the equestrian monument, cop man. Consciousness is new to the universe. We all have our ways to ease the shock.
What exactly is it you know? That's... Come on, that's... I meant to say, not true. What do you mean, do? What do you mean by lenient? Okay, man, okay. Things are just so hard for an entrepreneur in this city right now. It's not like we lied when we said we want to turn a church into the wickedest club in East Revershoal.
Because we do! We totally do!
We just need to turn it into a speed lab before.
To get our foot in the door.
Like I told you, spooky arseholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up. No, man, they're spooky all right. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there.
But the sign was way off too! I couldn't feel the love at all!
Sir, you promised you'd be lenient. We can continue on an amiable path, right? No more misunderstandings, no more lies. Before you go, is there anything else you need? As always, we'll be right here.
Yes?
The shaggy-haired girl needs...
So you talked to my associates, right? Shoot. I did, and I'm sorry. For what it's worth, which isn't much.
This is why I didn't go into the tent. Typical delinquency.
You don't get to choose your posse, they choose you. Mine are idiots, but they're mine. I tried to talk Andre out of it. I even tried not to lie to you.
Indeed, she merely tried to omit the truth instead.
I know, but I knew you'd see through their plan too. I'm not an idiot. I should have been able to control them, and I will in the future. I promise. May I ask, what did you tell them? Oh, right. That's wise. Take your time. My associates? I haven't got much to say about them. Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
To the cops.
Me? I'm a silver bird. Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but...
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in the lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city. A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer. The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the Ream Prefect is equipped with better noise attenuation circuits. You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder for stress accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this login attempt. For stress accident, is there anything else I can do for you today? I have 2 machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brun, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brun, that's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with? Sleep well, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. You can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow. Your voice is barely audible, not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises.
Could be.
He doesn't seem entirely convinced, though. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. There's nothing. You're dizzy and disoriented as you see dark and more dark rising.
Officer, what are you looking at?
Filled with vague shapes of woodwork, the sense of a great height. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you, with maybe it's possible to talk to it. Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the building came alive and is now studying you intently. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamro. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Rivershaw.
I'm here to receive the mother's love. You can too, Holmes. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of that despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence, and you don't even know it. Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc El Vino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how gracefully he sways. 'Tis not an act, my liege. Saving perchance he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
up there, Holmes. I am, at least in part, Holmes. Into the mother's love burns away the cruel distinctions of the body.
What does he mean, in part?
Aboyadero? No, Holmes. I don't go in for that kind of thing. It's all about surrendering to the mother now. Haven't you ever met a Mex before? Cabron. Surprising number of us around rabbit shop. Not sure I'm contributing to the economy none, Holmes. Glad you're feeling more comfortable. First-timers are always nervous. Oh man, I would love to see that statue. I'm sure I'd be trespassing if the church was in use. But it's not, hombre. I done my share of illegal shit. Used to be in a gang, the whole deal. But even memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. That's not really the point, I say. You gotta give yourself over to service. Service of the mother, that is.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name. But those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. Oh, that's no simple question, I said. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, at one with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
I heard that before, Way, and I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, when's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night? She took you for a good spin, huh? Don't worry, bro. That love is but a drop compared to the ocean of the mother's love. The mother will eat all of you and never spit you out. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. This is the mother of silence we're talking about. It's the singing of a burning heart. You may be thinking, but fire crackles. No, Holmes, that's the material that's burning. The flames themselves are without sound. Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, Way. It didn't belong to me. I think they were, a long time ago. I had to shed them like skins. to get closer to the center of the silence. You could have them. I don't need them anymore.
They look pretty dapper, actually. The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
Too many times, Essay. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety. The lieutenant raises his eyebrow, but doesn't say anything.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it. The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them, think they scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway. Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company. I think we're done here, Essay.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you, it covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass. A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocent stay advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking, a tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death. Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. Justice, union, prudence, and force. So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé, also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, Women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene Le Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Riel Belt. As did we all. The lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even far away Supremwindi, altogether 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time, immediately accepted Innocentic rule. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vespa Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later, a young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else. Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves, the man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her Theriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the Innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then the Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? That she is. A great sacred piece. I wonder what we are doing here, however. In this church, I mean. The coast in general. We shouldn't linger. This isn't a good place to get lost in. The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
The precarious world. How not to lose? It is impossible not to. The world is balanced on the edge of a knife. It's a game of frayed nerves. You're pushed on by numbers and punitive measures, pain, rejection, and unpaid bills. You can either play or you can crawl under a boat and waste away, turn into salt or a flock of seagulls. Your enemies would love that. Or you can fight. The only way to load the dice is to keep on fighting. The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. The speaker.
Good evening. Good. Please good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Sleep well, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church, the door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary. but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simo for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading. I think these people worked in the radio computer games business, the one we saw in the Doom commercial area. They must be our former co-workers.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work. That disco man must be a cell.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. I got a call from the repeater station. Someone has tried to access the radio computer in our old office in Martinez. Can't do anything about it. The storekeeper still doesn't want to let me inside the building. thinks I'm part of some kind of curse. How Martinez of her.
I knew it wasn't a good idea to meddle with the machine.
No. It was a great idea. You're learning things. This is how you learn things about machines. March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles. Crackers. Ping energy drinks. Water. Toothpaste. Gum. Also some canned air. Your reading is interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
Well, you won't find any music venue organizers here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
What is it? No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper. Yes. Or no. Not anymore. That project is dead. I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
Did she say over 16 years of experience? She must have started programming when she was still a teenager. That still doesn't answer what she's doing in an abandoned church.
No. Yes. And? No. You're right. I'm not. I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything. I use the AR-1 as my RAIN prefix processing unit. Mm-hmm. Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you? All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna. I guess it is. So far I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieux dedicated to that sort of thing. I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core. The light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something. So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps. No, I don't. Because I needed something good for my investigation, and RAIN Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards, so I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a RAIN prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see RAIN prefects in every police department, for example.
No, of course not. I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition. I bought it from her. I was actually aiming for the military-grade RAIN Rational series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as the Civic, but it does work better with newer antenna models, so I'm not complaining. They are connected to my RAIN Prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Great. You really like those questions, don't you? I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out. I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that.
Exactly. What does it mean?
Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing.
What do you think it is?
What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
Easy. You measure it by the world around it.
Exactly. Very true.
That's what I've been aiming for. That's why I have those basins. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins.
Hydro transducers. So that's what those water basins are. Devices for recording sound through water.
But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark. Most of the tower disappearing into the shade.
There's this place at the back of the church. A place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow. And the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place. I know. No, I don't. Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Great. Thanks. The Swallow, you mean? Great. Thanks. What? I hate it.
I bet she hasn't even heard it.
Yeah. Like all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they? Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music.
This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it?
I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here. Take a guess, why don't you? Bingo! That's exactly what they're up to.
Wonderful. Now this house of worship is also going to be a drug lab. Always something fascinating happening in tents.
Yeah, what I said before. Not possible to appreciate that kind of music without being high as a kite. So that's settled. Great. No nightclubs in the church then.
Why does art inspire you so much? Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and performative creativity. It's an expression of imagination and technical skill. Additionally, it's history, criticism, and pure enjoyment. In short, art is the highest form of human communication, representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined. Have you looked in the mirror lately? To be honest, you have the exact features of the modern artist, with that wild hair and those clothes. Perhaps you should try to write poetry someday and critique architecture. Yes, you seek substance. No vapid representations and reproductions of social mores as made manifest in stuffy biennials. We're talking real, living art here. Become the art cop. Half art critic, half cop. Quit being so indecisive. What are you going for here? Some kind of indecisive and camp aesthetic now? Strike a bold shape here. Go art or go home. Exactly. It's not only your duty to only catch the criminals off the street, you must also apprehend criminals of the printing press and the gallery, the trite and derivative artists and writers of the world. Go ahead and provide savage criticisms, art cop. The world is yours to rip to pieces and reassemble.
Yes, what is it?
Hello again.
So you had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Noid? That's fine, man. But I've got to warn you, our signs are still off. It'll take some time for me to get my sign on. A sticker? You mean the yellow one? Can you describe it to me?
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
Good, good. What did you want to know? Yes, you're the 23rd person to get it right, and I've asked 23 people. Looks like it's a dead guy smiling to the entire human race. We're all the same. Same eyes, same smiles, same death. He defeated history. We are living in the age of history, and in the eyes of history, we are always already dead. How can we ever smile then? Because history is a lie, and so are its deaths. The present moment and life are the hardcore. The hardcore expels death. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats. It should be sold, but not by us. Simplicity was brought to us by a classical soul artist modernism, but that was a tasteful, harmonious simplicity, right? Well, hardcore is not tasteful or outwardly harmonious. It's a warning shot. This will be dangerous. The echo of man's loss, haunting him. The sticker, the clothes, the music, same thing. It is. I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing. But what for? The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment. Nah. Still strongly out of sync. Stage gamma disalignment. You heard me. I'm doing what I can.
He looks like a well-thought-out individual. The synchronization might be worth it in the long run. A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshy tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says,
Hardcore! Hardcore! Yeah!
This young man adds a capital G before the H in his yegs and args. This produces a guttural, Gotwaldian accent and makes him sound more animal, more in it. Or maybe it's not Gotwaldian. Maybe it's Oranese. Probably an homage to Oranje, where Arno van Eyck is from, judging by his name. Could
you know about him?
You know Van Eyck? Wow!
The skinny wraith looks at you with some disbelief.
So am I! So am I!
Oh, is that why they call you Egghead? Because...
Egghead to the mega! The K became the G! The boy became the man! The Advent?
Huh? I see you're here. Nah, you heard me.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
He's a quiet man, mostly communicates through music, and by being a master of ceremonies. You know, a host, a declaimer of slogans. He's a performer, gets the people going.
Interesting, sire. A bit like you, then. An MC for short.
Well, he's just kind of here. I don't really know how to communicate with him. Yeah, sometimes, when I stumble and find my way into his centre, you have to hear a lot of hardcore to the mega first though.
The man smiles mysteriously, choosing to let the beat speak for itself. I get it. He's a puzzle.
Goodbye, officer.
The young man.
This is hardcore. Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega. Here comes the night. Back to the head. Hardcore, internally coherent. Good morning, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yakokata, the place to be. Yakokata is a hardcore place.
Yakokata is an abbreviation from the Gradian term, Zone of Ecological Catastrophe, an agricultural megaproject in the extreme southeast of the Gradian Isola. It involved cutting-edge approaches to irrigation and an intricate system of irrigation networks pockmarking the earth, intermittent seas of phosphorus mud, ripped tarpaulin fluttering in the wind. A pair of molten rubber boots also comes to mind. All in all, a truly hardcore place.
Viclo, true, hard, full, car. Hardcore is internally coherent.
All car, all right, yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah! Is it though? But is it? I mean, really? I am the mic enforcer. I am the chicks checker. Yeah! Vicla, true. Hardcore, internally all car, all right.
He furrows his brow.
Hardcore. Is it though? One mind, one spirit. There's no other word. Vicla, true. Hardcore, internally all car, all right. Gotta get the people going. I'm the party boy. It's my job. 2 on a track. Watch. Vicla, true. Hardcore, internally coherent. All car.
He furrows.
Hardcore. The question is, what is the question? But there was a question? Vicla, true. Hardcore, internally coherent. All car. Gotta get the people going. Yeah, request. Viclose, true. Hardcore to the internally coherent. All car.
He furrows.
Hardcore. The question is, what is the question? But there was no. Vicla, true. Internally, all car.
He furrows his.
The question is, but there was a. Vicla, true. All.
He furrowed.
Is it though? One mind, one. Vicla, true. It's hardcore. Skibber danger. I am the rearranger. Vicla, true. Hardcore, internally, all.
He furrowed.
Hardcore. Is it though? One mind. Vicla, true. Hardcore, internally coherent. All.
He furrows.
Is it though? But is it? I mean, really? No, but seriously, I'm a bit worried it isn't.
The skin on your back is crawling. For a second, you can't even hear the music anymore. There is a hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gislain, right next to the canal. Don't be alarmed. Everything is okay. He isn't actually worried. Everything is still super hardcore. What he probably means is, it could be even more so.
Lungs are for love! Love! In a woman's lungs. Lonely as I am, I'm not afraid. This strange, damaged feeling grows on and on, because I've never loved someone like you before. No nation, but transnation. No war, but class war.
Don't be a lunatic. Of course he isn't. Jermaine here just yells random things. Odds are, sooner or later one of them will come off as fault reading.
Yeah! Reversion imperative!
Unless you were thinking Reversion imperative right now. Anyway, I've had a similar thing happen with eggs yelling. I know what you mean. That's fucked up, man. Lying like that. And a cop, too. He's not a communist. It's just something he likes to yell. He picked it up from a tape jockey at the Elysium. She was a communist, though.
Yeah! With a rebel yell! I can be an ultra. If you want that, do you want me to be an ultra?
Please don't turn him into an ultra-liberal.
Oh, jeez. Please don't do that. There's enough exploitation in the world.
Aye! Capital rules the nation. The market regulates itself. Eat the poor.
You swear you feel the profit margins reflecting off Jermaine Egghead's giant smile.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore. Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last months, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper? It's like it's only ultra.
I think it's super hardcore, but you're right. It's not hyper hardcore.
If anything, it sounds a bit proto. Like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you are pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore.
Wow! Culture cop! I think you might be right, but how could it become hardcore then? I know it in my heart, but cannot think it in my head. If this is not hardcore, how could anything be? What? Guys, there's something happening in his head. Oh yeah, he's doing it!
But you're not. This is almost certainly a matter that surpasses the limits of reason.
I know, so does mine. No, this is the answer. Uh-huh. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh. Yeah! Capital is salvation! Dark code hardcore!
Basically, yes it is.
No, that would be silly. Your body isn't for thinking. It's for robust, wholesome things. Things like discus, javelin, and 400-meter hurdles. Discus.
All right! Here...
Hi again. And? What happened? Oh man, the crab man you mean? Who is he? What did you think? Really?
Interesting. What's he doing in the church?
No matter. Is he gonna be a problem?
Yeah, Noid is right. Let's get back to the point. What are we gonna do about him?
These guys will never catch him. You will never catch him. There's nothing to do.
I don't know, man. Doesn't it feel like a major hindrance to you? A spooky guy climbing around when all the guests are trying to have nice, friendly hyper time?
I guess it's not a massive problem. Now,
Everyone is welcome to dance till the morning light. Yeah!
Maybe. I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, but what about the other spooker? The one in Grandma's clothes? Did you see her? A programmer? That's odd. What was she like? Did you ask her about the nightclub?
what a pity. That's my favourite thing in the world. And she doesn't like it at all.
A shame. What can we do now? Do you see a way out of this jam and into a laser-lit future of dance and unity?
Unity! Dance!
And you can't just evict her?
Look at you, Honour Man.
No, Noid. He's right. Maybe we've approached it the wrong way after all. I'm sure there's a workaround. We can make a deal not to bother her. If that's okay with her, we only want to get in the church and spread the joy and ecstasy of music.
The lines in the dark exist. Coexist.
At least Crabman seems like an advanced being. He's hard. He'll understand.
Yeah, he can do his climbing thing in the tower. And the programmer, does she like anodic dance music?
Egghead cannot believe what you just said. It makes him pump the jam a little slower for a moment, but then he returns to the full swing of it.
No worries. We'll figure it out. If coexisting fails, you can always muscle her out, right? If it's all okay with you, what do you think? Oh man, but the drug lab was like an integral part of getting the club going.
For me, it was my favourite part. Chemistry's great. Besides, imagine all the drugs we could do if we had our own drug lab. I mean, anodic music is great and all, but drugs, they make you feel really good. When did you last feel really, really good? Pull out that stick, Lawman. You'd absolutely love drugs. They'll make you feel transcendent.
Excellent. Good luck, my friend. Goodbye, officer.
Hello again.
Yes?
The old woman still sits in her chair, continuing with her chores. As she does so, she quietly hums to herself. The buzz of electric lights blends together with the slow rumble of the ocean waves at night. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her about it right now.
Yes, I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. My suggestion is, don't. Don't grow any older than you already are. That's old enough. What's troubling your mind? A lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids too. It's an old Samaran children's song. Surrender to the night.
That's kind of grim for a children's song, even if it is a lullaby.
Yes, it does. What do you want with a lost jacket?
That's an excellent question, man.
He probably pawned it for booze and then forgot about it. You know how drunk men are? Are you getting a reward for it at least? What? You're fetching someone's missing laundry free of charge? Do you not have anything better to do?
In fact, he does.
None of my business, either way. How you spend your hours is up to you. Anyhow, you might ask Lillian if she's seen anything lately. That girl's got a way of attracting lost and broken things.
Hi again, gendarme. You can keep it. I don't mind. I can appreciate beauty when I see it. Is it now? Bye-bye, gendarme.
Can I help you? What is this thing? I should have known Sylvie wouldn't accidentally break things here. Okay, this is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
It's not actually about that, but he liked it. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? No, and I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything else? 57.
In the cabin, you... It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
On the table, you see a bowl of water. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. The expression fixed to your clean, still not. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away.
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street.
Recorded in you forever on ferrotape.
On and on it goes for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars.
Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit.
All stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent, picking up litter and old newspapers, collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city.
You'll go insane if you keep going like this. One more day, and you'll be in the loony bin. I just know you will. And for what, brother man?
For the money, baby. For the greater good.
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth. There he goes again. He's a real political animal, our Harry. He still doesn't see that it's the world changing around him.
He's got no idea what he's in for.
'Cause only love can break